They are the most intelligent birds on Earth. They recognize individual human faces and remember them for years. They use tools. They plan for the future. They hold what appear to be social gatherings around their dead. They have been documented solving multi-step puzzles that would challenge a young child. And they are everywhere in every city, every suburb, every forest, and every coastline across North America. The corvids, the family Corvida, crows, ravens, jays, magpies, and nutcrackers, a group of birds so cognitively sophisticated that researchers consistently compare their intelligence to that of non-human great apes. North America is home to 17 corvid species from the American crow that most people see every single day without giving a second thought, to the Florida scrub jay that exists nowhere else on Earth and is fighting for survival in one of the most threatened habitats on the continent. From the common raven, the largest corvid in the world, to the pinyon jay, a species that lives and dies by the fate of a single tree species, and whose populations have declined by more than 80% since 1970. Today, WildForge explores the most important corvid species of North America, what makes each one unique, how they live, what they eat, and why these birds represent one of the most astonishing evolutionary stories in the animal kingdom. We begin with the most familiar corvids in North America, the crows, members of the genus Corvus, that most Americans encounter on a daily basis without ever fully appreciating what they are looking at. The American crow, Corvus brachyrhynchus, is the default corvid of North America, the large, uniformly black bird with the familiar caw call that inhabits virtually every type of open and semi-open habitat across the continent. Adults measure approximately 40 to 50 centimeters in length and weigh between 300 and 600 grams, with glossy, iridescent black feathers that show blue and purple sheens in certain light. The American crow is one of the most studied birds in North America, and the research consistently reveals a level of cognitive sophistication that challenges our assumptions about what a bird brain can do. American crows use tools, recognize individual human faces, communicate social information about specific humans to other crows, and hold what researchers describe as crow funerals, gatherings of crows around a dead individual that appear to serve a social information function, helping surviving crows learn about potential threats in the area. The fish crow, Corvus ossifragus, is the American crow's smaller coastal relative, found primarily along the eastern and Gulf coasts of the United States. Slightly smaller than the American crow and nearly identical in appearance, the fish crow is best distinguished by its nasal two-syllable call, rather than the American crow's single caw. Its scientific name, ossifragus, means bone breaker, a reference to its habit of dropping hard-shelled prey from height to crack them open. The fish crow has been expanding its range northward and inland in recent decades, increasingly found in urban and suburban areas well away from its traditional coastal habitat. The Chihuahuan raven, Corvus cryptoleucus, is a medium-sized raven of the arid grasslands and desert scrub of the American Southwest and northern Mexico, smaller than the common raven but larger than the American crow, occupying a geographic and ecological position between the two. Unlike the common raven, which is typically encountered as solitary individuals or pairs, Chihuahuan ravens are highly gregarious, forming large flocks in the non-breeding season. The common raven, Corvus corax, deserves its own section, not just because it is the largest corvid in the world, but because it represents the pinnacle of avian cognitive evolution and has a cultural and ecological significance that few other birds can match. The common raven is a massive bird. Adults typically measure 56 to 69 centimeters in length, making them distinctly larger than any crow, with wingspans of up to 130 centimeters and weights of up to 1.6 kilograms. The raven's most distinctive physical features are its massive heavy bill, its wedge-shaped tail visible in flight contrasting with the rounded or square tail of crows, and the distinctive shaggy hackles of elongated feathers at the throat, which the raven raises during social interactions and displays. Ravens are found across an enormous range that encompasses most of Canada, Alaska, the western United States, parts of the Appalachian Mountains, and south into the mountains of Mexico. They are birds of wilderness and dramatic landscapes associated in human culture with mountains, coasts, boreal forests, and the great open spaces of the American West. But ravens are also increasingly found in suburban and even urban environments, demonstrating the adaptability that characterizes corvids as a group. The raven's cognitive capabilities are among the most thoroughly studied and most impressive of any bird species. Ravens plan for the future, caching food and demonstrating the ability to anticipate future needs rather than simply responding to immediate hunger. They deceive other ravens watching to see if they are being observed before caching food, and moving caches when they believe they have been watched. They cooperate in hunting, working in pairs to distract prey or overwhelm defenses that a single bird could not defeat. And they have been documented using a form of referential communication, producing specific calls that convey specific information about the nature and location of food sources. In the mythology and cultural traditions of indigenous peoples across North America, the raven occupies a position of extraordinary importance, appearing as a creator, a trickster, a transformer, and a cultural hero across dozens of distinct traditions from the Pacific Northwest through the Arctic. The raven's intelligence and omnipresence made it a natural focal point for human storytelling and spiritual belief long before Western science began to document its cognitive capabilities. The jays are the most colorful and perhaps the most charismatic members of the North American corvid family, a diverse group that ranges from the familiar blue of the blue jay to the dramatic crested Steller's jay of the Pacific coast. The blue jay, Cyanochyta cristata, is the most widely recognized jay in eastern North America. A medium-sized corvid with brilliant blue upper parts, white underparts, a black necklace, and a prominent blue crest. Found across the eastern and central United States and southern Canada, the blue jay is a year-round resident across most of its range, and a familiar presence at backyard feeders. Blue jays are loud, bold, and highly intelligent, known for their ability to mimic the calls of hawks, which they use to create alarm among other birds and potentially clear feeders of competition. They are also important seed dispersers, carrying and caching acorns from oak trees at distances of up to a mile from the parent tree, playing a significant ecological role in forest regeneration. Steller's jay, Cyanochyta stelleri, is the western counterpart of the blue jay, the only crested jay found west of the Rocky Mountains, and is distinguishable by its dark blackish-brown head and crest contrasting with vivid blue body plumage. Found from southern Alaska through the Pacific Coast states and into the Rocky Mountains and Central America, Steller's jay is the provincial bird of British Columbia and a familiar presence in mountain campgrounds across the West, where its boldness and intelligence have made it notorious for stealing food from unattended picnic tables. The Canada jay, Perisoreus canadensis, formerly known as the gray jay, a name many birders still use despite the official change by the American Ornithological Society in 2018, is a fluffy, soft gray corvid of the boreal forest, known for its extraordinary tameness around humans and its habit of caching food for winter survival. The Canada jay breeds in late winter, sometimes beginning nest construction in February, when temperatures in the boreal forest can reach minus 30 degrees Celsius, timing its breeding, so that chicks grow up during the brief Arctic summer, when food is most available. It caches food items in tree bark using sticky saliva and relies on these caches to survive the brutal boreal winter. The pinyon jay, Gymnorhinus cyanocephalus, is a dull blue, crow-like jay of the pinyon juniper woodlands of the American West, a highly social species that lives in flocks of up to 500 individuals and is so completely dependent on pinyon pine seeds that its population cycles directly mirror the productivity of pinyon pinecone crops. Pinyon jays cache up to 30,000 pine seeds per individual per year, with a spatial memory so precise that they can relocate cached seeds under snow months later. Pinyon jay populations have declined by more than 80% since 1970 due to the degradation and loss of pinyon juniper woodland habitat. And a petition was submitted in 2022 for the species to receive Federal Endangered Species Act protection. The Florida scrub jay, Aphelocoma coalescens, is one of the most ecologically specialized and most threatened corvids in North America, a medium-sized blue jay found only in the oak scrub habitat of Central Florida, making it one of only a handful of bird species entirely endemic to the state of Florida. Florida scrub jays are cooperative breeders. Young birds from previous years remain with their parents to help raise subsequent broods, a behavior that has made the species one of the most intensively studied birds in North America over a decades-long research program at Archbold Biological Station. The species is listed as threatened under the United States Endangered Species Act, with populations declining due to the loss and degradation of oak scrub habitat across Central Florida. The Magpies and Clark's Nutcracker represent the most visually distinctive and ecologically specialized corvids of North America birds whose appearance and behavior set them apart from all other members of the family. The black-billed magpie, Pica hudsonia, is one of the most striking birds in North America. A large, long-tailed corvid with bold black and white plumage that shows iridescent green and blue sheens on the wings and tail in certain light. Found across the western United States and Canada, in open country with scattered trees, the black-billed magpie is known for its enormously long tail, which can account for more than half of the bird's total length. Its loud, chattering calls, and its large, domed nests of sticks that it builds and defends vigorously. Magpies are highly intelligent and opportunistic, known for following large mammals including bison, elk, and domestic livestock to pick parasites from their skin and steal scraps from their kills. The yellow-billed magpie, Pica notali, is the black-billed magpie's California-only relative, one of the few bird species found exclusively within the state of California, nearly identical to the black-billed magpie in plumage, but with a distinctive yellow bill and bare yellow skin around the eye. The yellow-billed magpie is found only in the oak woodlands and adjacent open areas of California's Central Valley and surrounding foothills. The species suffered a dramatic population decline following the West Nile virus outbreak of the early 2000s, which killed an estimated 49% of the California population in a single year, making it one of the most severe single-event population crashes recorded for any North American bird species. Clark's Nutcracker, Nucifraga columbiana, is named for William Clark of the Lewis and Clark expedition, and is one of the most ecologically important birds in the high-elevation forests of western North America. A medium-sized gray and black corvid of mountain conifer forests. Clark's Nutcracker is specialized for harvesting and caching the large seeds of whitebark pine and other high-elevation pines, carrying seeds in a specialized sublingual pouch under its tongue that can hold between 50 and 150 seeds at a time, depending on seed size. and caching up to 98,000 seeds per individual in a single season in years of high corn production. The Nutcracker spatial memory is among the most precisely documented of any bird. It can relocate seed caches buried under snow to a depth of several feet months after the seeds were hidden. Clark's Nutcracker is the primary dispersal agent for whitebark pine, a keystone species of high-elevation ecosystems that is itself threatened by white pine blister rust, mountain pine beetle, and climate change, making the conservation of Clark's Nutcracker directly linked to the conservation of entire mountain ecosystems. No survey of North American corvids would be complete without addressing the characteristic that unifies all members of this family and has made them the subject of some of the most remarkable research in contemporary animal cognition there. Remarkable intelligence. Corvids possess the largest brain-to-body ratio of any bird family, and the structure of the corvid brain, while organized very differently from the mammalian cortex, appears to support cognitive processes of comparable sophistication. Research conducted over the past 3 decades has documented corvid capabilities that were once considered uniquely human or exclusively mammalian. Ravens and crows demonstrate what researchers call episodic-like memory, the ability to remember specific past events, including when they occurred and where. This capability allows them to return to food caches at the appropriate time before perishable items decay, demonstrating not just spatial memory, but temporal awareness. Ravens have been shown to plan for the future, selecting and saving tools they will need the following day for tasks they have not yet performed, a capability that was once thought to require language and conscious deliberation. Both crows and ravens recognize individual human faces and remember them. Studies at the University of Washington demonstrated that crows captured and banded by researchers wearing specific masks would recognize and mob those researchers while ignoring other people, and that this information spread through local crow populations through social learning, with birds that had never encountered the researchers themselves joining the mobbing behavior after learning from birds that had. Crucially, this recognition persisted for years. The California scrub jay, formerly known as the western scrub jay, before the species was split, has been documented in laboratory studies, caching food differently when it believes it has been observed, recaching food in private after being watched, and even appearing to account for the perspective of potential thieves. This behavior has been interpreted by some researchers as evidence of a theory of mind, the ability to attribute mental states to others, a cognitive capability that developmental psychologists once considered a uniquely human milestone. The conservation situations of North American corvids range from abundant and expanding to critically threatened, reflecting the different ecological specializations and habitat requirements of this diverse family. Most of the generalist corvids, the American crow, common raven, blue jay, Steller's jay, black-billed magpie, are abundant, stable, and in some cases expanding their ranges in response to urbanization and agricultural development that creates the open habitats and food resources these adaptable birds exploit. The American crow in particular has benefited from human landscape modification, with populations that have grown substantially since European colonization transformed the forests of North America into the mosaic of open and suburban landscapes. The crow thrives in today. In stark contrast, several specialist corvids face serious conservation challenges. The Florida scrub jay is threatened, with populations continuing to decline as oak scrub habitat is lost to development and fire suppression that allows scrub to grow too tall and dense for scrub jay use. The pinyon jay has lost more than 80% of its population since 1970 and is awaiting an Endangered Species Act listing decision. Clark's Nutcracker faces an uncertain future as white-bark pine, upon which it depends, continues to decline across the high mountains of the west. The yellow-billed magpie remains vulnerable to West Nile virus outbreaks, its restricted California range making it impossible to escape the disease through dispersal. And across the continent, all corvids face the ongoing threats of vehicle mortality, window strikes, and secondary poisoning from rodenticides used in suburban and agricultural settings. North America's corvids are not just birds. They are a window into the evolution of intelligence itself, a demonstration that the cognitive capabilities we associate with large brain mammals can emerge independently in birds through a completely different neurological architecture. From the American crow that watches for traffic before crossing a road to retrieve food, to the Clark's Nutcracker that can map the location of up to 98,000 pine seeds in three-dimensional mountain terrain in peak production years, to the Florida scrub jay that cooperates with its family to raise siblings in one of Florida's most threatened habitats. Every corvid species in North America tells a story of adaptation, intelligence, and ecological precision. Some of these species are thriving, some are struggling. All of them are worth knowing, because understanding the birds that share our landscapes is the first step toward protecting the ecosystems that sustain both them and us. Thank you for watching.